Coming up on SUTV, the impeachment trial of former President Donald Trump.
And we'll give you an update on the shooting between 4 Cedar City officers and an alleged suspect.
Welcome to SUTV News. I'm Danielle Moret.
And I'm Christian Esparza. 4 Cedar City police officers are on administrative leave after firing weapons at a fleeing suspect. The suspect is identified as Larry Joseph Lee Tessier, who was hospitalized in critical condition from several gunshot wounds. Officers responded to a report of assault that involved Tessier, who then fled the scene, starting a high-speed chase. The chase reached as far as 3000 North, here in Cedar City, but ultimately it ended in a rural area near 2400 North and 400 West. After multiple attempts to stop Tessier with pit maneuvers, attempts to disable Tessier's vehicle, at some time during the routine maneuvers, Tessier made contact with a law enforcement vehicle. 4 officers drew their weapons and discharged them, striking Mr. Tessier. The details of the shooting and what specifically prompted the officers to shoot are still under investigation.
The House of Representatives adopted one article of impeachment against former President Donald Trump of incitement of insurrection. They charged the insurrectionists carried out their attack on the U.S. Capitol on January 6 on Trump's behalf and believed themselves to be acting at Trump's direction based on his claims of voter fraud during the presidential election and numerous tweets that called for action at the Capitol on January 6. In their opening remarks, Trump's defense team claimed impeachment was unconstitutional and partisan, and the impeachment was an attempt to divide the nation. They also said there is no point to move forward with the trial because Trump has already left office. In rebuttal, the prosecution raised concerns that failing to convict on the basis that Trump is no longer in office would set a dangerous precedent that future presidents could exploit at the end of their presidency. The Senate voted to move forward with the impeachment by a vote of 56 to 44. However, in the end, the split Senate voted to acquit Trump by a vote of 57 to 43, with 7 Republicans going against the grain with a vote in favor of impeachment.
We have team reporting on how the COVID-19 pandemic has affected many, starting with how Southern Utah University is combating the coronavirus with mandatory COVID-19 testing for students. Our reporter Danielle Moret has more.
Southern Utah University is taking measures to combat the rise of COVID-19 by providing coronavirus testing at its Student Center ballroom. The university is managing cases among its students and faculty by mandating students who are enrolled in at least one in-person course at SUU to take the test. Testing is available Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. by appointment only for students who are not showing any signs of the virus. Students will perform their own tests by swabbing each nostril 5 times and then handing the swab back to the volunteer. Keaton Hansen, a volunteer at the testing center, spoke with me about why students should get tested.
If you have any encounters with somebody that's symptomatic, come in and get a test. The testing is very thorough, it's very good, and I feel safe, and we make a safe environment for you, so there's really no reason not to come in and get a test done.
Now, if a student is showing symptoms for COVID-19, they need to schedule a drive-up symptomatic test at J. Reuben Clark. Students will be instructed to stay in their car, get tested, and wait for their results. That's all for now. I'm Danielle Moret with SUTV News. Second, our reporter Run Yu was able to find out how it is affecting those internationally.
Currently, the COVID-19 epidemic is raging around the world, affecting many countries in the region, whether in developed countries, developing countries, or third world countries. People's work, life, and study have been affected to varying degrees. First, let's learn something in Paris, France, through Mrs. Gao, who is currently studying costumer design.
What is the biggest influence this pandemic brings to you, daily life? Is it good for you or bad for you?
À mon avis, seulement mauvais à cause de l'épidémie, beaucoup de restaurants et musées fermés. On doit rentrer chez nous avant de 18 heures. Il nous manque beaucoup de divertissement et c'est qui nous ennuie.
Now, let's take a look at South Korea with Lene Min, who just graduated from Southern Utah University. She is working as an English teacher in South Korea.
Okay, so prior to take your temperature and wearing mask while going out in public, like restaurants or shopping mall or school, or going to church?
Yes, so everywhere has like a little sign or something. Not everywhere makes you take your temperature, but most places will have their own little temperature thing, or a thermometer, or they have like a big stand that will like scan you, scan your temperature, which is kind of cool. It's pretty easy. Most places will have you like just sign in and like have your name and stuff so that if you were to test positive, then they could like tell the people around you that you tested positive. So yeah.
I had the honor to interview Gemma about the situation in Tanzania.
Before we all closed the schools, that everyone has to go back home and have a lockdown at the first phase. Then there were precautions of wearing masks. When we opened the school, because Tanzania, we opened the school earlier than any other country. So we all went with the face masks and sanitizers and the supplements of vitamin C and vitamin D so that we can drink in school. And we used to drink hot water and having exercises every morning in school.
Nice.
I hope everyone can stay safe and healthy. This is Renyu Hu from SUTV 9 News.
Lastly, our reporter Michaela Olson spoke with the Southern Utah Museum of Art and how its business was affected.
Hey. Oh, let's see. Can you hear me?
Citizens in Cedar City are still feeling the impacts of the COVID-19 shutdowns from last spring. But their Center for Art, SUMA, is open after the initial closures and constantly finding new ways to adapt and thrive. Jessica Kinsey, curator of the museum, made the decision to close just before SUU's campus did in 2020. They remained closed for around 10 weeks, putting their 2020 student BFA exhibit schedule on hold.
Those students had worked for months on that exhibition. So it was great to be able to be flexible and nimble. We were able to push our May-June show to 2021 and keep the BFA show installed in the hopes that we would reopen.
SUMA quickly made modifications to their policies and programs to reopen safely to the public again in the summer.
A lot of what we've been doing, especially in 2019, is activating our spaces through programming and events if you're just open, you don't have as much engagement with the community and the campus.
To make up for the loss of programming, SUMA implemented virtual tours and created art supply kits to send to teachers so their classes could participate in virtual field trips to the museum.
And it's actually been super positive. Like, teachers have loved it and even when we do get to resume in-person tours, they want to see us do these kinds of things in the future.
If you'd like to support SUMA, they have a multi-level membership program and are always accepting donations. For more information, visit suu.edu/pva/SUMA. For SUTV News, I'm Michaela Olson.
SUU has 3 semesters a year and registration is coming up for students. Seniors have the opportunity to register for summer classes first. By going to their SUU portal, students can click on the registration button and select their classes. Freshmen, sophomores, and juniors are available to register a few days after the seniors. For any questions on help building your schedule, talk to the Academic Advising Office or make an appointment with your advisor.
Tomorrow, Wednesday at 7:30 p.m., SUU's music department will be hosting a Billy Joel and Friends choir concert performed by students here at SUU. This concert will highlight some of Billy's iconic rock songs as well as hits from other pop artists. The concert is unique in the world of choral performance as it derives away from the ensemble and unified setting typical to a classical choral style and will focus more on the modern, free, soulful, and individual singing style.
It's a lot of people projecting whatever they are into the piece as they see it while singing along with a bunch of other people rather than, kind of a choral effort. And so, it's fun and it's good for the audience because rather than hearing that one soul of the music, you get the buzz of, 100 different energies singing at you at the same time. And so that's fun.
Due to restrictions caused by the pandemic, this concert will be live streamed only. You can access the concert by going to the SUU event calendar page. Go and support your fellow T-Birds while also enjoying some of pop's greatest hits. Sounds like they got an exciting virtual concert going on.
Yeah, it's exciting to see that some of our talented students will be paying tribute to Billy Joel. I'm glad that they're adhering to COVID-19 restrictions and making this event safe for anyone, but it should be really entertaining.
Yeah, like you bring up with COVID, it's fun to see how they work around that and find a way to make it happen. Coming up, a different look at Valentine's Day.
And how police work is being affected by the pandemic.
We are strong, we are resilient, and we will get through this together. But these are stressful times, and it's important to also practice good self-care. It's normal to feel overwhelmed, anxious, or afraid, but there is hope. Reach out to someone, connect with your friends, stay in touch with your community, and know that you are not alone. Learn more at wearebroadcasters.com/hope, furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
The Student Programming Board twisted Valentine's Day on its head for Southern Utah University students with an anti-Valentine's Day event last Friday. In an event designed to make this holiday more inclusive to people not in a relationship, students broke their own hearts by decorating heart-shaped piñatas to smash at home, and shredded notes they vented their feelings on. Small chocolate heart-shaped cakes were also provided, served broken according to preference. And a student performer, Zai, on Spotify, debuted a song about love being meaningless, to the appreciation of those in attendance.
The girls of Alpha Phi hosted their annual Philanthropy Week over the past few days. Students, friends, and family were able to join in with duets, trios, groups, and even solos for their super fun karaoke night. Anyone in attendance had to follow all COVID-19 protocols to ensure a safe experience. The event was $3 per person, and all of the proceeds went to the Alpha Phi Foundation, which donates directly to the Utah portion of the American Heart Association.
The Alpha Phi organization also hosted a dodgeball tournament on February 11th to keep raising money. Students were able to create a team and play in the tournament by donating $30. All proceeds went to women's heart health. Before anyone was allowed into the gymnasium, all players and audience members had to get their temperatures checked. Dodgeballs were cleaned after each game in an effort to fight any spread of COVID-19. Different organizations on campus came together to battle heart disease, such as the Still Office, the Athletics, and all 4 Greek organizations. After an intense last round between the Athletics and Sigma Chi, the Athletics took the winning bracket. Alpha Phi have one last invite-only gala on Saturday to finish off their philanthropy.
A Southern Utah police officer gave our reporter Cameron Ray information on how COVID-19 has affected his work.
The global COVID-19 pandemic has affected several different careers. Law enforcement has been affected less than most. I asked a local police officer by the name of Scott Ray what his thoughts were on the pandemic interfering with his line of work.
Every job has been affected. The whole world has been affected by the pandemic. But law enforcement has probably changed less than most. I mean, we can't stay home. When people call 911, they still need somebody to respond. And personal protective equipment has always been a part of law enforcement. Each department and each individual officer makes decisions about what PPE to wear and when, but in the end, law enforcement is still law enforcement. There still needs for somebody to come and level the playing field and be a resource when things are going wrong. I mean, the number of calls went up just a little bit last year, but people forget that all the regulations and enforcements involving mask wear and cleaning and temperatures, these are all civil in nature. And so it doesn't increase or decrease our law enforcement calls necessarily. If you are a strong believer in the governor's directive that you should wear masks, then you should. But don't yell and scream at people that don't. And if you choose to not wear masks, then just realize that you can be asked to leave places that can regulate that, any private property. So if a business says, you're not wearing a mask, you need to leave, you can. You're not going to get in trouble. Law enforcement hasn't made new laws. You're not going to get arrested. None of those things. It's civil in nature, but be respectful of other people. In the end, we all need to get along. So if you're pro or counter, whatever your standpoint is, be nice to other people.
It's fantastic to see that Alpha Phi is able to still raise money for women's heart disease and adhere to COVID-19 protocols and make sure everyone's safe.
Yeah, it sounds like both events were very fun, and it sounds like they had a good turnout for each. It's awesome to always hear about Greek organizations here on campus and hearing what they're able to do to raise money. That's awesome.
Especially when it's for really important aspects of our society, like heart disease and other things like that.
Definitely. And now to Sam with the weather.
Thanks, Christian. Coming up next, I'll let you know if we can expect some more sunshine coming into this next week. Stay tuned.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfies. Nailed it. We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's put a ride home.
Alrighty, looking at our current temperature right now, we've got about 35 degrees, a real feel of about 32 degrees, and as you've probably noticed right now we've got a mix of snow and rain going on. A high of 37 for today and a low of 32, and about that 75% chance of rain. And then we've got some winds coming up from the north, coming down from the north at about 13 miles per hour. Humidity about 53 degrees and dew point of 23 degrees. Looking forward to tomorrow, we've got a high of about 32 and a low of 14, and it's going to be some sunshine mixed with clouds. And then Thursday we've got a high of 37 and a low of 24. And then looking over at our radar here, we've got this precipitation coming in from the west and a few clouds as well. And then if you're traveling down to St. George, you can see it's pretty cloudy down there as well, a little bit of precipitation. And then looking forward to the rest of the week, we've got partly cloudy skies on Friday and Saturday, a high of about 50 on Friday, so that's our high for the week. And then a low of 28, a high of 39 on Saturday and a low of 18. And then looking ahead, Sunday through Tuesday, we've got sunshine and a little bit warmer weather as well, 40 for Sunday, and then in the 50s for Monday and Tuesday. Now to Parker with sports.
Thank you, Sam. Coming up on SUTV Sports, hear what Cedar City Rec is doing during the pandemic to keep youth sports going, as well as the latest in Thunderbird sports.
Hey, did you buy something from some gaming site?
What do you mean?
Yeah, look, there's a bunch of different charges on here.
Do you think someone stole our credit card information?
I don't know. That site sounds familiar, though.
Yeah, isn't that the site that Billy's on all the time?
You don't think.
Billy!
Stop and think before you connect. Playing online is serious business. Visit dhs.gov/stopthinkconnect for tips on how to be safe online.
Hey, I'm Mike Rowe, here today to encourage you to connect with 811 before you dig.
And I'm Mike Rowe, and I'm here because I love to dig in the dirt.
It's true. He's also here because he's very small and not that bright. Here, for instance, we can see Micro doing what he loves to do. And here we can see the consequences of not doing what he should have done. Dude, why didn't you call 811?
I forgot the number.
See? Not that bright.
Welcome to SUTV Sports. I'm Parker Haney. Cedar City Recreation has been working on keeping youth sports going during the coronavirus pandemic. Our reporter Christian Esparza has more.
The COVID-19 pandemic has affected every single business in different ways, but here in Cedar City, the Recreation Department is finding ways to make it work.
For Cedar City Recreation, the challenges throughout the past year have been gym availability has been limited due to the COVID restrictions. So therefore we've had to cancel a few of our programs partway through the season, but for the most part we were able to complete most seasons, but also within that we've had to adjust some of the restrictions about how many spectators we can have in the gyms during those activities.
People like Jen have been working non-stop to ensure that these kids can enjoy playing their sports year-round as they normally do.
We've had to become kind of creative with how we do our game scheduling. We've been forced to schedule games on more weeknights than we normally do, and we have had to create some more time for teams to practice, and we've doubled up on practice time. So not only does a team have just one team in the gym to practice, sometimes we've had to do multiple teams to practice in the gym at the same time because of the limited space of gym availability.
Thanks to Jen and everybody else at Cedar City Recreation, these kids are able to enjoy their sports.
Thank you, Christian. SU men's and women's cross-country team traveled to Tallahassee, Florida for their second race of the season. Our reporter, Allison Prey, has more.
The men and women's cross-country team traveled to Tallahassee, Florida to compete at the FSU meet. The meet had good competition, creating great opportunities for SU's cross-country athletes. Kicking things off, the men's team raced first. Starting off in a large pack, the men put up a fight to get into a good position. The race didn't go as well as the team had hoped. The men didn't feel they have had as many workouts in their legs as they would have liked, but they are being positive and hopeful that their performances will improve.
I think we may have been a little bit tired or something, but we're looking forward to this meet we have coming up in a couple of weeks. Hopefully we'll be able to show our true potential there and kind of come back from this meet.
The women raced right after the men. Just as the men did, the women started off their race in a tight pack. The pack came through at a 5:15 mile. Starting fast is common in a women's race, so that was as to be expected.
I think altogether we worked well as a team and we left everything out there that we could. And we had our best spread. Our second through sixth girl, we were within like 15 seconds of each other. Unfortunately, we just need to move that pack up a little bit, but I think if you give us a couple more months, we'll be able to get into better shape and be able to get out there and race a little bit better.
The women were disappointed in the outcome of their race. Just like the men, the women were feeling the lack of workouts. Even with the unfortunate outcome, the team is holding on to their very successful performance at Oklahoma back in the fall to keep their confidence up. Even though the weekend didn't go as well as the team had hoped, they're staying positive. They've expressed their hunger for speed, and they're putting in the work. Let's cheer them on at their next meet at UNLV coming up in a few weeks. My name is Allison Prey with SUTV News.
And thank you, Allison. SU football is finally getting underway. Their COVID-delayed season will be starting on February 27th at Northern Arizona University, and then the home opener will be on March 6th when Idaho State travels to Cedar City. The T-Birds are starting their season with new coaches at the offensive and defensive coordinator position. In an interview last week, head coach DeMario Warren stated that he isn't worried about the new coaches, seeing as they have had almost an entire year to prepare for this upcoming season. He and the rest of the coaches and players are just ready to get back on the field. Coaches Matt Wade and Robert Balla are in their first season as offensive and defensive coordinator, respectively. After almost 3 weeks, the SU men's basketball team will finally get back to conference this week when Sacramento State will be in town for the two-game series. They will play February 18th at 7 p.m. in the America First Event Center, and then February 20th at noon also in the AFEC. The SU women's basketball team will be traveling to Sacramento to take on conference opponent Sacramento State. They will also be playing on the 18th and 20th at 6 p.m. and 1 p.m. respectively. After winning 2 contests in a row, SU volleyball lost their last 2 games to Weber State, getting swept 3-0 in both contests. And SU softball opened their season at the UNLV Rebel kickoff, unfortunately losing all games in the tournament. They have a chance to get things back on track right now as they are teeing off against Dixie State at 3 p.m. on February 16th. And finally, SU women's soccer team had the best start to a season since 2007 this last weekend when their season opener ended in a 1-1 tie to Dixie State. Head coach Kai Edwards is excited about the season and is hopeful to continue the good play as the season goes on. For SUTV Sports, I'm Parker Haney. Now back to the desk.
Thanks for the update, Parker. Sounds like we got a lot of sports going on here on campus.
Yeah, it was really great to see that the cross-country team is getting at it and their season right now, and that the SUU women's soccer team had their best start since 2007. I'm excited for football to start back up again, though.
Yeah, it's been almost a year and a half. It's crazy. I think we're all excited. Next, Southern Utah's new rock climbing business.
And SUU's very own radio station.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day I found out I have something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
Southern Utah University's Student Programming Board hosted a unique themed Identity Week in celebration of the different cultures and identities of students. On Thursday, February 11th, they hosted a co-sponsored dinner with the International Student Association to celebrate the Lunar New Year, an event based on the lunisolar calendar, marking the first new moon of this calendar. It traditionally celebrates Asian culture. However, SUU invited all of its students to participate in Thursday's event, which occurred in the student ballroom from 6 to 10 p.m.
Southern Utah is full of outdoor activities, including rock climbing, but a new gym in Southern Utah is bringing the rock climbing indoors. A new company called Contact opened a huge indoor climbing area near Costco in St. George on February 4th. 14-foot-high walls called bouldering walls allowed climbers to safely climb without ropes. They also have walls over 50 feet high where climbers can safely clip into ropes. Daily, monthly, and yearly passes provide access to the new gym. Owners hope that climbing walls will be popular with climbers in Southern Utah. Businesses have been good so far and will provide options for the hot and cold weather we have here in Southern Utah.
St. George has extreme weather sometimes, so if it's too cold, like sometimes I'm get really cold and the rocks are too cold, my hands are gonna get cold when I climb. So I'm gonna come here for that. And then St. George gets really hot in the summer. So I'm gonna wanna come here and not burn my hands on the rocks.
Contact also offers yoga and fitness classes.
Sounds like a lot of fun. I know the rock wall here on campus is really popular. It gives climbers something to do when the weather is kind of bad outside.
Yeah, 100%. I know that a lot of students come here for the appeal of doing a lot of outdoor activity, and I think this rock climbing wall gives them the opportunity to do just that.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun, and it's good to hear that a new business is able to start up during times like this and they're doing well.
Yeah, you know, people have to be innovative during COVID, and a lot of businesses have shut down, and I'm glad to see that Utah is really making an effort for businesses to open stuff to make people more healthy.
Yeah, especially like you said, that's already an appeal here in Southern Utah, so it really just gives people more options to do, especially right now in the middle of winter, or, you know, maybe somebody doesn't want to make the drive to wherever the nearest rock climbing site is.
Yep, exactly. And yeah, that's super exciting, and I know that we have some cold weather here that Sam is going to tell us about coming up, and just having an indoor rock climbing facility in general is just great.
Yeah, and then even people in St. George, maybe they don't want to come up here to Cedar, and they can stay down there.
Thanks for tuning in. That's all we have for you. I'm Danielle Moret.
And I'm Christian Esparza. Tune in on Thursday for more.
Today I'm going to talk to you about physics. Come on in, girls. Let's go. This is the first rocket to get humans to Mars.
really tall.
I'm a rocket structural engineer, designing and building parts of the rocket. You are the generation that will be stepping foot on Mars. Do I have a group of astronauts on my hands?
Yes.
You can become a rocket scientist,